Ma'am, during
Yeah.
your college days, what you were studying, and ma'am, what you wanted to become at that point of time? What was your aim, ma'am?
First of all, Akash, thank you so much for chatting with me. It's lovely to be on your podcast. And so, when I was studying in college, I wanted to be a police officer. And which is, it's so strange to kind of, I just have to be honest and authentic. So, I wanted to. I'm sure a lot of people want to do that. I wanted to change the world and, or at least make a difference. I don't think I wanted to change the world. I think I wanted my existence to matter and to be of service to people. And I was enamored by, I felt that if I was in the police force, I would be able to make a lot of difference. And that's what I wanted to do. And I think I was considering more traditional roots of helping people, which was, my father is an IS officer, but I never considered that. Where actually, if you're an IS officer, you can actually make a lot of difference to the lives of people. But I think I wanted to be a police officer. I even considered, going into social service. And I studied law. After studying philosophy, I studied law. So law was also one of the options that I considered. But then I got seduced by television. Look, you want to be a filmmaker yourself, Akash. You know how seductive the life of, storytelling is. So one had always loved movies, and I got an opportunity to work at NDTV. At that point of time when I started my career, I think during those days, television was the rage and everything was just coming together. I would say television was the OTT at that point of time. So um, I joined NDTV and then I was hooked. And as they say, the rest is history.
Ma'am, how many years you worked there in NDTV?
I worked in NDTV for about a decade. That's about 10 years. Yeah.
Ma'am, then you also started working in. You were also co-founder of Film Companion, ma'am. So, what was the idea behind it, and why you guys started, ma'am?
So, Anupma Chopra and I met when I was at NDTV. Anupma was a very respected, is still a very respected critic, but she was somebody that we would read in India Today, and I used to love her reviews. And we at NDTV, I think the idea was to start a show to do with films where we got someone to host the show who's actually somebody with a lot of knowledge of films, as opposed to, there was back then, what had started to happen is that people would get people who are very camera friendly to host shows, but somebody else would be writing for them. Somebody else was preparing the copy for them. So they were not it was a trend. It's not as if all the hosts and all the anchors were like that. But I think usually you got somebody very glamorous to host a show, and but the scripts were coming from somewhere else. Somebody else was writing for them. So I think the idea behind starting the show that Anu and I did called Picture This was to somehow lure Anupma into the world of television and get her to be out there speaking about something that she was most capable of speaking about. So we met at NDTV where we did a show together called Picture This. And then after that, um, Anupma left NDTV. I had left NDTV before Anupma and started doing other things. Then when Anupma was leaving, she actually got in touch with me and she said that, listen, do you want to do a show together? Because we had such a good time working together. And we did the front row with Anupma Chopra with Star World. And by the time that show was coming to an end, we had 2 glorious years. Um, digital had just started to come in, and we started dabbling with the idea of um, having a platform that doesn't restrict anybody, that doesn't that doesn't follow the beats of appointment viewing. And we got advice from a lot of people who said that why don't you start something on your own and do this. So we co-founded Film Companion, and the reason it was called Film Companion and not The Film Companion is because I think we knew when we were founding it that we didn't want it to be just a one-person show. We wanted, as we grew and as we evolved, we wanted more voices. We wanted it to become a one-stop shop for everything to do with cinema. And now, as it's evolved, because now I am not involved, and I think when Mumbai Film Festival started, I got so busy in working at the festival that it was not possible for me to do both things. So it's very much Anupma Chopra's baby, and look, it has become exactly that. So I feel great amount of pride when I actually look at Film Companion, because the philosophy with which it started is the philosophy that it's evolved into, and much more.
Yeah, ma'am, absolutely. Ma'am, you are also an artistic director of Mami as well. And if I'm not mistaken, like you guys took over Mami when it was in debt. So ma'am, can you please tell that whole story?
So, Akash, what happened was that I actually didn't have any idea about what the Mumbai Film Festival was before I actually started working at the Mumbai Film Festival. I had never attended the festival. I used to love independent films, but I'm that middle of the road cinema viewer. I don't believe in the tyranny of taste. I don't let another person's taste define me. I feel any kind of cinema or any kind of storytelling that engages me is good cinema, right? Because I'm looking at it from my perspective as a viewer, right? So I've never been ashamed of watching things which are very populist and mainstream, and never taken extra pride or done a flex when I see something which is very left of center or experimental and which is really connected with me. So with Mumbai Film Festival, a completely new world opened up in front of me, which was a very fascinating world because I had, as a journalist, as a creative producer, as a creative director, in my career, I had only encountered one kind of cinema, like different kinds of cinema, but I was engaging primarily because that is the most popular kind of cinema. And journalism was also very different back then. Now everybody is woken up to different kinds of cinema, but at that point of time, um, people were largely covering cinema, which was releasing in theaters, which was popular cinema, mainstream cinema. So I was a commercial cinema kid, and um, I when I got sucked into this world, and I always say this to everyone who asks me this question, that I don't think that we rescued Mami. I think Mami rescued us because um, it brought so much to my life eventually. I mean, it did. It was a very hard gig, but very satisfying. I had a brilliant time, but I remember that when I stepped into it, um, it had lost its funding. So basically, Anupa and I had to fundraise. There was Kiran Rao also with us, and there was Seema Mahapatra, another one of our colleagues and friends who helped out, who's a marketeer and now a filmmaker. She's producing films on her own. And there was a host of people that came together that um, really, felt passionately about this space, because there's so many people in the city that felt passionately about it, and we saw real merit in it. So we fundraised for it in the first year, 2014, and then we took over as management in 2015. And um, Akash, it's inexplicable. I mean, there is no explanation for why we did that, because I can't think of, like, it was a complete shift, like I was on a certain career path, and then suddenly I find myself doing this. And it was, I mean, it was very gratifying. I don't look at things as hard or easy, because anything that is worth doing, anything that you're building, anything that you're putting your mind to, is going to be hard. And the very essence of being able to pull something off is that you kind of crack it, you figure it out, and then you keep on, rising to the occasion because the goalpost is shifting every year, right? So the experience was crazy. Like it was, we didn't even have, like, I'm not romanticizing not having resources because that's not the way it should be done. But we didn't even have, like, forget about an office. We didn't even have like a printer or a chair or a, to you had to figure everything out. Like I remember we felt so good when we bought a fridge and coffee mugs. So these are very exciting things. Like, it's the same feeling that you get uh when you set up a home, right? Like when you get your first rented apartment and then you're buying those little things ki aaj humne,